guys, it's Lynn again with Little Fit Nursery. I am here with my Ada. She's my Tink by Bonnie Brown. And she was painted by, oh my gosh, why am I trying to blank right now? Guys, it's been a really long day. I had the kids solo, and my hubby just took a very much needed day off because when you're a parent to special needs kids, it can be just extremely exhausting. So he needed like a break. So I had the kids all day, and now they're in bed, and or at least one of them's in bed, and I'm just like toast. Julia Homa. Oh my goodness, like her name escaped me for a second. Anyway, that's her. Julia is her artist, and she does amazing work. I like love her work and her paintings. So anyway, this little darling is going to change into, it is a little like, it's still pretty cold here, but I don't have like a lot of preemie stuff. And this just kind of caught my eye. This really cute, like springy onesie with like a mama bunny and two baby bunnies. It's pink with sort of this gray trim. And it's just, I just think that's going to look really cute on her. I don't know. I was just kind of in the mood to put her in that outfit. And while I do that, I just wanted to chat about a topic that I kind of started talking about a little bit and then kind of said in my last video that I think that's better for just a separate video. But it's just about like a buyer's reputation and kind of establishing a good buyer's reputation. So there's just, there's just like, I think, this hobby and, purchasing these babies, because these are, everything is bought from an individual artist. You're not really dealing with a company per se. Of course, buying kits and supplies, you're dealing with companies, but when you're actually buying the finished work of art, you're dealing with Reborn and Silicone artists directly. It's very much like a one-to-one transaction. And so it's just a very unique dynamic, I feel like, in this community, that it is this kind of transaction, and also that, the price points are so high as well, because you're not just purchasing, kind of like a commodity type of good that, doesn't cost very much. So the stakes feel like they're high, and you're also dealing with, people one-on-one. And with that's why there are so many scams in this community and things like that. And that's why I think it's so important. And I understand it from both the buyer and the seller's point of view. Both sides need to be cautious and know who they're dealing with, and know if the person that they're dealing with is trustworthy. I think that it can be very hard when you're new, starting off in the community, because you don't have any track record. You haven't yet, kind of built up, people haven't gotten to know you yet in terms of, purchasing babies and things like that. And I think there are a few characteristics that will really just help you as a buyer, even if you're new, to establish a good and solid reputation. I think, first of all, I think just being kind and being nice in your communication and interaction with others is so important. So, when you reach out to an artist, maybe you see them post a doll on Facebook, and if you reach out and you inquire, there's very big difference between inquiring and kind of just saying, hey, or how much, versus saying, oh, hi, I'll just use Noemi as an example because I purchased Emerson from her. Like, hi, Noemi, I've like long admired Emerson. I wanted to see, if she was available for sale, and, what the price would be. I'm very, very interested, or something to that effect. And just something that's just, it doesn't have to be long or anything, but just short and sweet and just nice and polite. And I think also writing with good writing skills. And so, just, spelling and grammar check. There are so many tools out there that can help you if writing is not your strong suit. So like Grammarly, I've heard of, and there's of course spell check, but just kind of making that extra effort. Because if you think about it, like, this is a business transaction, but, the artists can absolutely choose who they want to do business with. They don't have to sell the doll to you. Just because you inquired first, it is definitely not like a first come, first serve. They don't have to sell to you just because you were the first one who wrote them. They can sell to whoever they feel the most comfortable selling to. And unfortunately, I know that may not feel like it's fair. If, for example, you inquire and then immediately after you or soon after you, a more experienced collector with, who's a little bit more well known in the community inquires, I mean, I wouldn't blame the artist for wanting to sell to the second person, right? If the first person is just brand new and a total unknown. But I do think, things like just, writing in a very, polite and nice manner can go a long way. And also just making sure you have the funds available to purchase, and that, and a lot of times, and I hate to say this, and I know a lot of people have said, never pay PayPal friends and family. Well, I think it's okay if you know that the artist is trustworthy. I truly believe that. And when I'm dealing with some people for the very first time, I will sometimes ask them to pay friends and family, if it's not somebody that I know, and I'm selling an expensive doll. So, and that's how we've done it with Maggie, for example. She's paid me friends and family. We've done a layaway. It's been going really great. I think she's fairly new to the community. But she, inquired, and I felt like I had less to lose if we were going to do the payments that way. And so it was less risky for me as a seller, because it can be very, very nerve wracking, as a seller to sell an expensive doll. So, so anyway, some people may not, you may not like that. But again, I think you have to do your homework. Like, I would not pay friends and family to just somebody random. Like, it really has to be someone that you've researched in the community, whether, they're established on YouTube, they've been selling lots of other dolls, they have good references. I've also paid friends and family with a lot of ladies on Dollfan, because you can actually write feedback for each other on Dollfan. If you see that they have a bunch of positive reviews, chances are they're an experienced collector and are going to be good to deal with, and you're not going to have to worry. So I've bought, a couple of my silicone babies that way. Yeah, I think I did friends and family with all of my silicone purchases on Dollfan. So it's kind of the similar thing. Yeah, and then the other thing, I would say if you have the funds available, and if you're going to pay friends and family, you're going to need to have the funds in your bank account. So that's kind of one drawback to paying that way for the buyer. You can't put it on a credit card unless you want to tack on an extra fee. So just keep that in mind. And so I think it really helps if you have budgeted for the doll that you want, you have the funds ready to go. If you can pay in full, that's going to be so much easier and so much better for the seller, because most of them are going to prefer to be paid in full. So I would just say good communication if you have the funds, and just and I would also say, after you receive the doll, if you can follow up with a nice note and just to say thank you, and to also let the artist know that you received the doll, or let the collector know that you purchased the baby from, that you received the doll. That goes a long way as well. And then just slowly you will build up a reputation. I think you will very likely, if you're just getting started in this hobby, end up purchasing more than one doll. So, now if you have one great transaction under your belt, and especially, and I will also say this, if you have only purchased Reborns and you have never purchased a silicone before, I think that fellow collectors and artists can get a little bit nervous selling to you, because your expectations of silicone may or may not be realistic. For example, silicones tend to have a lot more flaws. They can have peels and tears and rips, if you're not careful, and they're just a lot more delicate. And so, I think sometimes buyers are expecting silicone to look exactly like a vinyl reborn, just in terms of kind of the depth of painting and things like that. And it's not quite the same. It just isn't. I think they feel incredible. By the way, I did not pick up my dear Ada yet, so let me do that real quick. Quick off camera hug. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. She's just this little peanut, and she just cracks me up. So every time I see this baby, I just fall in love all over again. She's so freaking cute. But yeah, I would say that, in terms of references, not all references are created equal. Let's say if you bought pretty inexpensive Reborns from people, and then you're now wanting to do a larger dollar value transaction, I think there can be a little bit of question mark on, first of all, can you really afford that doll? And then secondly, will your expectations be, kind of in line? Are you kind of used to purchasing the more expensive dolls, and do you have kind of that track record, if so to speak? So and again, I know it's not quite fair, because everybody has to start somewhere, but I do think that just, doing those few things will really help go a long way in establishing just a good reputation in the community. The thing about negative, transactions or interactions is artists do talk to each other. So if you are, really difficult to deal with, or if if you've scammed someone, oh my gosh, I mean, you will become blacklisted. I mean, people will block you and not want to deal with you, won't sell to you, etc. And you just have to be very careful. I think it would be rare for that to happen. Unless, yeah, the buyer was just, I don't know. Sometimes things happen where the buyer receives the doll and they end up claiming all sorts of things about the doll that it wasn't what they expected, and things like that. And sometimes it's like there are times when it's like the buyer didn't have realistic expectations. For example, if they didn't like how the doll was weighted, I really don't think that's a reason that an artist should like give a refund. For example, you should be able to watch YouTube tutorials and just learn to reweight the baby. I know it sounds very intimidating if you haven't ever done it before, but there's so many tutorials out there. And even like, I love the Reborn A to Z course by Shaylin Maxwell. That was the course I took when I first started learning how to paint. And she has very good videos showing you exactly how to weight your babies. I think just learning how to paint one of your own can be very helpful in terms of even fixing up the dolls that you purchase. So that was actually why I decided to learn to paint. I just really wanted to understand the hobby from like another angle. So, with, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, so I guess I would just say, you really want to think about things from the artist's perspective before, you're demanding a refund or something like that. And because sometimes the negative blot on your reputation isn't really worth it. But I guess it can also bring up the point that, maybe sometimes buyers are afraid to speak up if they weren't happy about something because they don't want it to affect their reputation. So it can be just this very delicate balance. Like, I do think that artists should be held accountable, if there's genuinely some issues. I think it's okay for buyers to share that information with each other. But just know that sometimes the risk can be that, you may establish a reputation as being a little bit of a finicky or difficult buyer, and that may come with the territory. So it's just something to be aware of. And similarly too, in terms of like how you treat your dolls, and this maybe goes into more of the reputation as a seller. If you are known for being kind of rough with your dolls and they sort of, you do a ton of role play, you're using pacifiers a lot, you're brushing the hair or giving them lots of baths if they're silicone, and then of course damage is going to result with all of those actions. I think that also can get kind of get around with regards to that as well. And there may be certain people who will not want to purchase from you because they know your dolls have sort of been through the ringer. I think for myself, like I feel very, you guys basically see my interactions with my babies. They're pretty much kept in like brand new condition. Like when I'm not playing with them, I have them wrapped up in blankets and just kind of tucked away. So that no dust is getting on them and things like that. So that, yeah. And even Erica, oh, by the way, so congrats to Erica for adopting, her baby Greyson, who's the Gabrielle #5 by Claire Taylor. And Greyson actually used to be my baby. He was my Noah, if you guys remember and followed him on my channel. So I sold him to another collector, and then that collector sold him to Erica, which is so cool. But Erica like opened him up and commented on how he looked like absolutely brand new. And I can like vouch for that because he came to me from his first mommy, like completely brand new. And then when I kept him completely pristine. And then when I sold him, I think the next collector handled him very gently as well. So I think that was why he was able to stay in such like perfect condition. So it's very, very rare to be the fourth mommy of a silicone baby and to like just have that baby just be totally pristine. But it just, again, depends totally on which collector you're dealing with. There are some collectors that are display only collectors, like they really don't handle their dolls very much. And I will say I pretty much put myself in that category. I mean, I'll change them for a video. I'll occasionally hold one, but I don't really, I don't give them baths. I don't do pacifiers, things like that. So anyway, but you just have to do your homework. Like if you're buying a doll secondhand, try to, it can be hard when you're new, but try to just really get to know people in the community, ask around. And if you also go to the doll show and you meet people in person and you can kind of get a feel for how they are with their dolls, I think that can be very helpful as well. And also, going to a doll show is a great way to build relationships with the artist, because you can actually meet them in person. When you buy a doll from them, you can like take a photo with them, with your new baby. I mean, it's so much fun. And I feel like the friendships you make there are just so worth it. So yeah, if you go to a doll show, I think that can be a really great venue and a great way to just, kind of build your reputation in the community as well. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts. I hope this was helpful to some of you. But yeah, I started kind of going down this path with the topic and thinking, wait, I should really just do a separate video, because it's just going to be, it really deserves its own video. All right, guys. Well, Ada's going to say bye to you all and hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.